House reporter for Axios, Elena Trine. Elena, good morning. It's always great to see you. What do you guys have for the one big thing today?
Good morning, Casey. Today, our one big thing is we learned that former President Trump actually was looking to endorse the Ohio Senate candidate, Republican Jane Timken, for that race to fill Rob Portman's seat, but was talked out of it by his top advisors, including his son, Donald Trump Jr. Essentially, the former president is really eager to get involved in these races, start endorsing people. We saw this at CPAC in his speech over the weekend, that he wants to start throwing his weight behind a lot of these people. But his team, including, like I said, Donald Trump Jr., people like Jason Miller, his former campaign managers, Brad Parscale, and Bill Stepien, have been saying, slow down. It's too early to get involved in this race. And I think the key thing for why this matters is if the president threw his weight behind one of these candidates, they would essentially win the GOP primary, especially in a state like Ohio that has really veered away from the John Kasich conservatism toward more Trumpism. And so I think it'll be interesting to see whether the president sticks to his team's advice or begins to really start well, I guess he can't tweet anymore, but start throwing out some of these endorsements for the candidates that he supports.
Yeah, I mean, does he have any test for a candidate other than their loyalty to him? It doesn't seem like he does.
Well, that's the thing. So he met with RNC Chairwoman Ronna McDaniel last week in Mar-a-Lago, and one of the things he asked about Jane Timken was, is she loyal to me? What do you think about her? And so it's the same language that we heard him use when he was still in office. And I think it's important to note as well, just with the conversation with Ronna last week, the RNC is not supposed to get involved in primaries. It's actually in their bylaws that it's against, the bylaws are against doing so. And so her speaking highly of a potential primary candidate is also super interesting. Her team assured me that she only did so in a casual capacity, and that, you know, in her personal capacity, it's not against the bylaws, but it is an interesting thing that I think she's been privately and casually talking about these candidates with the former president.
Yeah, trying to manage the former president by having said casual conversations has become a very delicate dance for people who are not supposed to be doing it. So you guys also have obtained this memo from an outside, or from, I should say, the Republican arm that's charged with getting GOP candidates elected to the House in 2022. They, of course, are trying to reclaim the majority. And frankly, history's on their side when the opposing party controls the White House, the Senate. Typically, the opposition party does gain seats. What is the game plan, or what are they thinking about what they need to do to try and make sure that they're able to pull that off again?
Well, the big thing that they're pushing in this memo is pulling on kind of the recruiting strategies that they used in 2020, because they did really well. And especially if you look at a lot of the suburban districts, places where Donald Trump actually didn't perform as well, and these Republicans did better. And so a lot of it is also pulling on more diverse candidates, minorities, women, veterans. Those are the things that they're really pushing in this memo and pushing for their recruiting strategies. One thing that is really interesting, though, is that they do signal a warning on essentially fundraising. They're being blown away by Democrats right now in a lot of these races. And so in order to perform as well as they need to have the money on their side. And it's kind of a precarious situation right now because a lot of places have been pausing or withholding their funding for a lot of these Republican candidates after what happened on January 6th with the attack at the Capitol. And so I think that, you know, as more time passes and more organizations look to throw money behind these candidates, we'll really start to see some of this take shape.